Hey, brothers and sisters from the StarkNet family. This is Nurstar, and I'm proud to welcome you to another great episode of Shill Me Your Fundamentals, the promotional and marketing driven show on the StarkNet ecosystem. And so, guys, we came back after a short break, as most of us have been busy in Lisbon for the StarkNet CC, so we took a refreshing break. But now we are back. Cairo-Written zkEVM, and I'd like to introduce you to some of the contributors that have been working on such an ambitious project. And I'd like to welcome you, Mentor from Alpha Road, a DeFi platform building on StarkNet, and is a contributor for Kakarot. Hey, Mentor, how are you doing?
You're still muted, Mentor.
Yeah, sorry guys. It seems that I
No
have
worries.
some network issues. So, hi everyone. I am
Amen.
Mentor, the co-founder of Alpha Road. So, we are the team behind Alpha Road protocol. We have also kickstarted a lot of initiative within the StarkNet ecosystem. For instance, starknet-ecosystem.com, which is the de facto ecosystem dashboard to explore project and have some things that we all together are building here. And since 1 month now, we have been contributing on Kakarot with a lot of other folks.
That's great. And I'd like to introduce you also to Elias, who's from the Theodo team, which is a developer company for Web2 and Web3 solutions. And he's also been working very actively on the Kakarot project. And so, hey, Elias, how are you doing? Welcome.
Hey, Nurstar. Thank you so much for having me. I'm good. It's been good.
Cool. Good. You're welcome, guys. So I'd like to start the episode with a chat on this new and ambitious project that we call the Kakarot, which is a name that we've all been hearing a lot in both our childhood and in the last month. So I'd like to know a bit about it in simple words, especially for the definition part of it. So I'd like to know what is it, what is its goal, what is its design. Who would like to start, and then the other one could continue on the first one.
I think Mentor wanted to give a bit of context on how we came to work on Kakarot. So I let him start, maybe help him a bit in the end.
All right.
If his network is merciful enough to work.
Okay. Yeah, because also the microphone is off.
Yeah, he told me earlier today that he had some networking
I
issues.
see. Well, if you agree, you can start on it, and then
Yeah, sure.
I'll follow you.
Sure. So as I understood it, Mentor is connecting, but yeah. What is this? Oh, I think Abdel wants to speak a bit. Since the project started with him and Shahar a bit, maybe he can give his view on the very early days of Kakarot. Hey Abdel, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I wanted to say hi. Great initiative. I'm happy that you guys are discussing Kakarot, especially because it is a community-driven project. So it's cool that you are taking the lead on that front. Yeah, just wanted to say hi and help you, Elias, in case Mentor has some issues.
Okay, so do you hear me now, guys?
Yes, Mentor is back.
Awesome.
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Sorry again. So the question
No
was
worries.
around the Kakarot story, the famous story, right?
Yeah, exactly. What is it? What is its goal? Its design? Like especially explained in simple words.
Yeah.
Especially about the definition thing, and then you can get a bit more technical.
Yeah. So first of all, maybe I can start with a little bit of story and the timeline. So the first one mentioning this idea was Shahar from StarkNet a couple of months ago.
I think we lost him again.
Yes. So indeed,
Yeah,
it was Shah who mentioned that on Twitter, mostly for fun, but only half joking. He was saying that basically, to him, it was doable to implement an EVM in Cairo. And then a few months later, Stan and others from Only Dust thought it was actually feasible, and we discussed about starting the initiative of doing the implementation. And then I was excited by the challenge, and I joined the effort, and I kickstarted the repository for the initial structure of the repository. And then within a month, we got the ERC20 working, but I will let Elias explain what happened in between. But yes, this was the initial story of Kakarot. So maybe Elias, you want to explain what is Kakarot in simple words, and then tell what happens in terms of community contribution, etc., coordination of the project.
Yeah, sure. I guess the coordination started in Lisbon when we had the hacker building. We all came together in the same space and started hacking at Kakarot. So that was really fun. And in simple words, Kakarot is an EVM kind of embedded into StarkNet. So it's basically an EVM bytecode interpreter coded in Cairo right now, living as a smart contract. It's basically a VM interpreting smart contracts originally written for Ethereum, but on StarkNet. Note that we're not a compiler. I don't know if you guys know it, but Warp is a transpiler project where you write Solidity and then it outputs Cairo. Ourselves, we're more like an interpreter, which means that you will write a Solidity smart contract and you will run it as is on Kakarot, being some kind of a bridge, right, between Ethereum space and StarkNet.
Cool. That's very interesting.
Maybe you can explain the different types of zkEVM briefly to explain the difference between wrap-like kind of things and Kakarot.
Yeah, sure. For the background, we based our kind of hierarchy, or at least classification, on an article by Vitalik, which basically states that in his opinion, and I guess in our opinion too, there are 4 types of zkEVM. So EVMs that can be proven cryptographically, right? Type 4 would be warp. Type 4 is basically you write in Solidity, and then some kind of compiler is transpiling your code to some other language more suited for zero knowledge proofs. So in our case, Cairo, right? Cairo was specifically designed to run zero knowledge proofs easily, Starks. And so this is type 4. Type 3 is Kakarot, which is basically you have bytecode equivalence, but you must make some sacrifices in terms of code and infrastructure. So you don't have full compatibility with Ethereum clients and so on, precompiles, hash functions, stuff like that you would have on Ethereum. And then type 2 and type 1 is closer to full bytecode equivalence. And there isn't any project yet in this vicinity, so we can stay high level and say that type 2 and type 1 are for a close future, but no one has it yet. Maybe Scroll, I don't know if you've heard of them. They're going for I think type 1. But yeah, as close as we get is basically Kakarot is pretty fine. Bear in mind that Ethereum was not designed with zero knowledge in mind. So right now, all of the space is moving towards zero knowledge, but it's quite hard. And so there are a lot of trade-offs to do and lots of research still to be done.
I see. That's great. Thanks a lot for such a clear explanation. And yeah, I don't know if Abdel or somebody else would like to add something on it.
Yes. In terms of challenges, like Elias explained, because Ethereum was not designed to be zk friendly, there are a lot of trade-offs when you want to have maximal compatibility with Ethereum. For example, there is an opcode on Ethereum that computes a hash of an input, and specifically the hash function that is used is zkEVM, which is massively used in Ethereum world. But the problem is that in the zk context, when you want to have proofs of computation, basically you work on with polynomials, and this is modular arithmetic. And this is very not efficient to implement zkEVM in this context. So that means if you want to have strict compatibility in terms of hash function, you will sacrifice a lot the performances. This is just an example, but this is a good example to show that there are some trade-offs. So the more you want compatibility with Ethereum, the more you will sacrifice performance, and it's always a matter of compromise, and it's good to have all those types of zkEVM being explored at the same time, because depending on the needs of the project, depending on the for example, let's say a project is deployed on many EVM chain. They don't want to maintain a second code base in another language. Then it might be acceptable for them to deploy on a zk rollup using a type 3 or type 2 EVM with the performance that won't be optimal, but still they will save a lot of time. And as Vitalik explained in the article, the process can be iterative. Like you can have a zk rollup that starts with a type 4 and then moves to type 3, and then adds more and more compatibility over time. And yeah, this is not something that is set in stone. You can move and go with more compatibility over time if you want to.
I see. Very good. Thanks a lot, Abdel. And now I would like to know, like in practical terms, how Kakarot would position itself in in the fractal scaling thesis, provided it would play a role in it. And I mean, how will it relate to others? I mean, to the StarkNet and the StarkX scaling solutions? Will it interact with them? And if yes, how? Or we will just work on its own path as an independent experiment? Because this aspect is not clear to me yet. Obviously, I have my technical limits, so I would like to know a bit more about that.
Yeah, sure. That's actually a great question, and it's very important to clarify. Since Kakarot is a community-driven project, it's not being purely, handled by Starkware, right? So it's not to be mistaken with StarkNet or StarkX. I think in 2 words, the very long term, so 1 year or 2 years vision, could be that Kakarot becomes the first StarkNet L3. So it goes into the fractal scaling thesis, I guess. So it would be very fun that one could benefit from the StarkNet validity rollup aspect for security, but still write solidity, right? So that would be one vision. In the short run, though, since StarkNet is still in development and acquiring stability and so on, Kakarot will live as a smart contract on StarkNet. So essentially, since I don't know if everyone knows, but the EVM behaves kind of like a computer, right? So it has compute, storage, memory, and so on. So we are emulating a computer inside a smart contract in Cairo. So we're saying Kakarot behaves like a Ethereum blockchain, but is completely siloed into a smart contract on StarkNet. So you can deploy smart contracts that are written in Solidity on Kakarot, and Kakarot will basically abstract them away and commit them to StarkNet. So long-term, L3, short-term, an EVM siloed into a smart contract on the StarkNet solution by Starkware.
All right. Now it's much clearer to me. Thanks a lot, and it's been a very great answer. And yeah, I would like also to ask you. So maybe you already asked me, but you already answered to this question. But I'd like to know when do you think that Kakarot will achieve an operational state, and how are you going to plan the promotion of it? I mean, how are you going to drive users and developers towards it?
That's a great question. Essentially, even though so Kakarot is fully community driven, and we wanted to remain like that, but it's still a product, so we still have to think of it as a product and develop it with milestone and so on. And we thought that it would be very palpable and awesome to have concrete milestones. So we wanted to have, through Kakarot, 4 very iconic smart contracts, Ethereum smart contracts. The first one was the counter smart contract, where you essentially just instantiate a number and then increment it or decrement it. I guess it's the equivalent for storage of a Hello World, right? And this one, we have it. It's deployed on Kakarot and it runs. The second one is ERC20, so porting as is any token from Ethereum to Kakarot. This also, we have it thanks to Danilo. I think he may be here in the space, but we also already have it. So we are halfway in our milestones. The 2 remaining ones are NFT, and I think we're almost done. Danilo worked on it today. And the last but not least milestone would be to port as is Uniswap to Kakarot. So operational state, I guess we're very close. We have some kind of operational state because you can run an ERC20 on Kakarot. But someone's asking to speak. Oh, Danilo, hey, okay, I'll approve you. Maybe you can give some insight. But basically, we have operational state. We are planning to move to production as soon as possible. I think the deadline is more closer to 3 or 4 months to have something that's like, but not perfect, but essentially working for production. And yeah, the strong point is to code in Solidity and benefit from the security of StarkNet, I guess. Danilo, do you want to give your feedback? I don't know if you, I think I approved you, but I don't know where you are.
Yeah, I also approved him as well, so I think he...
He's one of our core contributors. Hey, Danilo. And he worked
maybe he's
on...
got it. Okay, he's on.
Yeah. Hey,
He
Elias.
just has to...
Yes. Sorry.
Hello.
Yeah. Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, I think it was a follow question asked from Elias. My question was about the when Kakarot will achieve an operational state, and how are you going to plan the promotion of it towards both users and developers?
I see. Yeah. I think Elias answered this. But from my perspective, I would say we have a few steps that we need to first solve to be able to make it operational, and especially optimization. And that could take long, or that could be fast. Like, I think it would depend on how fast we can debug and optimize things. So yeah, I don't think giving a number would, from my perspective, I really want to be fast, but I think making promises is also not so good. So yeah.
Yeah, we have
That makes
2
sense.
out of 4. We have 2 out of 4 milestones, I guess. And the biggest hardships will be optimization, as Danilo said, because there is a big trade-off between compatibility and optimization and I guess efficiency. And then we'll have to build basically an infrastructure, right? So endpoints and so on to make it very smooth to work with Kakarot. So we're talking 4 to 6 months, I guess, for a first MVP. But it works right now. So you can run a token on Kakarot. Depends what you mean by operational state.
Yeah, as operational state, I mean when user can start also playing with it, and obviously there's like a foundational base of like dApps deploying on it. I meant this kind of operational state.
Okay. Then I guess, yeah, timeline would be, or the magnitude will be months. And then I guess for East Lisbon, we presented a very fun playground where you could compare in your browser an output from the true EVM and Kakarot, and this worked fine. So that was fun. But for operational state, yeah, as you said, users deploying and interacting through it with dApp and so on. We're talking a couple of 4 months for a first very robust MVP, I guess.
Cool. Great enough. And yeah, I would like to know as well who's working on Kakarot for the time being, and how are the contributions being organized, and if there's like some curious devs listening to us right now, how can they start contributing on Kakarot?
Yeah, that's really cool because, as we mentioned, Kakarot is fully community driven. It's open source. Anyone can jump in. We have tons of contributors on the Telegram group. We have a Telegram group with more than 100 people, and we've had contributions from many people all over the world. So that was really nice. We have 15 to 20 contributors, I think, from Danilo, I think, who's here. Tupas, I think, participated, if I'm not mistaken. Mentor, Mathieu, so many people. Abdel kickstarted it. Lucas from Starkwire is also coding away on it. We got tons of support from Mentor, Lenny, so many cool people, and I'm forgetting most of them. I can't recognize the handles on Twitter, but it's been really cool. So I guess you could definitely chat with me or Mentor or any one of the core dev team, join the Telegram, and then ask for a first issue and be onboarded. Everything is open source, and you can start today.
That's great. Cool. Actually, I finished my questions, and I was thinking that I would receive some questions for you from the community, but actually I received none so far. So if there's somebody who would like to say something or to ask Elia, Fabel, or Danilo for some questions, feel free to ask us for the permission so that you can enter the space. And in the meanwhile, I would like to know regarding also the previous question. I'll let you know. Do you think it will be difficult to pitch like Kakarot to devs who are not used to develop to developing on StarkNet and on using Cairo?
I guess the question is, how will we ask devs to come to Kakarot?
Exactly.
Yeah.
How will you attract devs to
I guess
Kakarot, especially devs who have no Cairo experience?
I think the whole work that's being done on Kakarot is that you would, in some kind of ideal future, come to StarkNet or like come to Kakarot, right, and port your Solidity contract without any changes. So essentially, if you're a dApp, you code your smart contract in Solidity and you deploy to Arbitrum, Polygon, and then to Kakarot. Like, although Kakarot is not a blockchain per se, it's simply a EVM emulator. It behaves like an environment where you can deploy a contract. So our pitch would be, hey guys, code your dApp, deploy it on Arbitrum, and then with one click, deploy it on Kakarot. And that's essentially the user experience we want for devs. So that's the DevX we want. And we will be behind the scene coding in Cairo so that every bytecode, every opcode is interpreted by Kakarot. So essentially, we're not compiling any of their code from Solidity to Cairo. We're simply writing a kind of a translator, right? So they're coming in, speaking their language, and we make it so that Cairo can understand it.
I see. So basically, from a non-technical perspective, as far as I understood, it will be it will be a bit more. It will be easier to deploy and to deal with Kakarot for a non-Cairo dev than starting working on and deploying on StarkNet and on StarkX.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That's exactly
Okay.
it.
Nice. That's
Yes.
great.
If I may add something, yeah, this is something that is interesting for people that have legacy code, legacy application. But there is absolutely no advantage of going with Kakarot if you start a project from scratch, because the performance of the zkEVM will be always less interesting than native Cairo code. So it's only when you have legacy, or maybe to play with the ecosystem if you have like some Solidity experience and you want to deploy some contract and play with the ecosystem before jumping and learning Cairo. But I would say that for projects that are building from scratch, there is no interest in going with Kakarot, and it's way better to go with native Cairo. But for people that have already deployed EVM applications on other EVM chain, that makes sense. If they want maximal compatibility in terms of tooling, infrastructure, and basically this will be the equivalent of going to zkSync or zkEVM of Polygon or Scroll. They are kind of competitors of Kakarot in a way.
Yeah, I agree with Abdel. Our whole point is to give a choice to people so that they can make their own decision and trade off. If they're starting from scratch, they can learn Cairo quite fast and have an optimized application. And if they're starting from scratch, but they want to have deploy on 5 chains, they don't have to code 5 code bases. They can do one. If they're porting legacy code, they can do it. So it's all about giving people choice, and they can make their own decision, being aware of all the trade-offs and prices that people must pay, right?
That's amazing. Thanks a lot, guys. So, seeing that we are coming to the end of the episode, I would like to let the listeners know that I created a celebrational NFT of the space that I would love to give as a gift to one of the listeners. And I don't know, the first one who asks for permission and asks for an easy and brief question to the costs, I will send him this NFT about Kakarot, which is basically a Super Saiyan or above a pyramid. If you've not seen it yet, so please don't be shy and apply for grant. Otherwise, I don't know. I will just give it to Elias. Let's wait for some seconds. Okay, no worries. Nobody wants the NFT, sadly, but okay, wait. We have a. Okay, let's see. Hey, Mr. T. Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
Probably a stupid question, but it's just to get the NFT, to be honest.
Oh, cool. That's good. Okay.
I'm gonna ask.
Yeah, but okay.
Okay, I'm gonna ask.
Yeah, please.
Where does that name, that Kakarot name, comes from? Like the idea of,
Right. Then you
Welcome
want to
to
answer?
Bankless,
It's your idea.
Yeah, the name. Okay. Basically, Kakarot is the actual name of Goku in Dragon Ball manga. Goku is actually not his original name because he grew up on another. He was born on another planet, and his original name was Kakarot. But then he came to Earth, and
The first one who asks for permission and asks for an easy and brief question to the costs, I will send him this NFT about Kakarot, which is basically a Super Saiyan or above a pyramid. If you've not seen it yet, so please don't be shy and apply for grant. Otherwise, I don't know. I will just give it to Elias. Let's wait for some seconds. Okay, no worries. Nobody wants the NFT, sadly, but okay, wait. We have a, okay, let's see. Hey, Mr. T. Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
Probably a stupid question, but it's just to get the NFT, to be honest.
Oh, cool. That's great. Okay.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
ask.
yeah, but okay.
Okay, I'm gonna ask.
Yeah, please.
Where does that name, that Kakarot name, comes from? Like the idea of, you know.
Nice. Abdel, you want to answer? It's your idea.
Yeah, the name. Okay. Basically, Kakarot is actual name of Goku in Dragon Ball manga. Goku is actually not his original name because he grew up on another. He was born on another planet, and his original name was Kakarot. But then he came to Earth and he lost memory, and he was called Goku. And so Kakarot is his original name, and it sounds like Cairo, a bit like Cairo. So
Gotcha.
I found it, fun. Yeah, that's the idea.
Gotcha. Hope you're good, Abdel. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Mr. T, for the question, and don't forget to write me at the end so that I can transfer the NFT to you. Thanks a lot. And now it's time to close this episode of Shill Me Your Fundamentals. And I'd like to thank all the Kakarot crew to be here today. Elias, Abdel, Danilo, Mentor, unfortunately had some technical problems, but I'm sure we'll have other occasions to speak about Kakarot together with him. And having said that, also, yeah, thanks to Abdel as well, and to all the listeners who took some of their precious time to be here today. Thanks a lot, guys, and see you on the next episode. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye, guys.